My name is Brian. I'm from Corpen Gin. We are Barcelona's first craft distillery. So the name Corpen comes from a Navy signal flag. I was in the US Navy for 8 years. And this flag means a change in course or a change in direction. Even though this is a very old technology, navies around the world still use flag signals to communicate just in case everything breaks. So the name Corpen really as a change in direction is kind of our guiding principle as a company. So
how long, when did you founded this, or what inspired you to start and get into this world?
So I was in the Navy for 8 years and lived all over the place. Lived in San Diego, lived in Hawaii, lived in Italy, and I initially came to Barcelona to go to grad school. And when I moved here, I saw that there was just the craft beer scene was just beginning, which as an American was pretty unusual because we've had craft beer for a long time. And my business partner and I, we were both homebrewers, so we thought, hey, craft beer could be this could be an interesting opportunity. But I had moved here for a master's, and that master's was in design management or design innovation, basically. So we took a step back and thought, okay, well, if craft beer is already happening, then we maybe are a little late to the show already. So what comes next? And what we found from our research and investigating is that where there is craft beer, craft spirits follows. And True. No one was doing craft spirits. No one was even thinking about craft spirits in 2016. So we started working on it. We started developing recipes. We started testing recipes. We were running workshops where people would come and taste what we were doing. We would teach them how to make gin on little 1 liter pot stills. And through that, we got really invaluable feedback about what kind of things customers are interested in, what kind of flavor profiles this gin loving community really is looking for. So during that time, we were working out our work visas, finding an adequate location, getting all of our ducks in a row in order to launch this properly. And we moved into our current location in January of 2019, and we actually launched in 2020, which was not an ideal moment to launch. But I think if we can make it through that gauntlet of 2020 and 2021, well, then it certainly can't be any worse than there, right? You can only go up from that point. So that's how we ended up here. But first craft distillery in Barcelona, really our kind of looking forward has paid off. Now there are at least two other ones. But really to, be the trailblazer and be the first one into a market is what we were trying to do, and really what we successfly did.
Talk to me a little bit about the product as well. Like, does it have local spices, or of Spain or Barcelona, or how does the product taste, and how is it relevant to Barcelona?
Yeah, of course. So I'll be honest, we make it here, but we intentionally did not name our brand Barcelona Gin, because ultimately, from a branding perspective, we wanted something that you could really enjoy anywhere. And that wasn't necessarily physically tied to Barcelona, although we make it here. And we do use local ingredients to the extent we can. So today I'm here, we've got 2 different gins, so I'll talk about both of these. We've got Llevant, we've got Mistral. With a Navy background, it's not a surprise that we stuck with kind of a maritime theme here. Each of our gins is named after a Mediterranean wind, right? And there are 8 Mediterranean winds, which means that we've got 6 more recipes to go. But really what defines our recipes, right? I don't need to tell you, there are a lot of gins in the market, right? And in the world. But just because there are a lot doesn't mean that they're good.
You got 93 points at Bartender Spirits Awards. That's pretty good, especially you were just, in year 3 sort of. And I believe that it's still new to the US, right? So we'll talk more, but it's pretty good quality for sure. So carry on.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think, right, as a gin drinker and as gin lover, I recognize that there are just a lot of gins, but so many of them are they're gin by definition, but they don't really have a lot of flavor. They don't really have a lot of character. They don't really make any decision about what kind of flavor profile they want to pursue, right? If you're really looking for flavor in a sea of mediocrity, then, right, we offer our gins as an alternative, right, as a change in direction to that kind of trend. So our recipes are bold, right? Really bold. We use almost double the amount of botanicals of a normal gin because we really want you to understand those flavors, be able to pick up those flavors, and then be able to mix this in drinks, but without having it get lost in the mix. So we've got, right, this is the gin that we had in the Bartender Awards. But we've also been in USA Spirit Ratings and the London Spirit Ratings with our.
Did you work consistent around 90?
Yeah, so we got a gold in the Spirits rating, so I think that's low 90s, 94, something like that.
Nice.
And then in the London Spirits Awards, I had it here. The London Spirits, we got a silver, so I think that was high 80s if I recall. I don't have the
That's
numbers
pretty
right.
good.
I will say, right, London is a pretty tough market. So a silver in London, I think, I'm pretty happy with that. So, yeah, really, from a flavor perspective, right, we focus on flavors. We don't have 800 botanicals in our gins. We really neck down the number of botanicals that we have. But it's because we want you to be able to taste those things and identify those things. This was one of the biggest things that we understood from our clients when we were doing those gin classes at the very beginning is how do you make the gin drinker feel like a gin expert, right? How do you make them the winner in the story, right? When they're drinking the gin with their friends or their family and they say, do you taste that orange, right? Do you get that eucalyptus? Do you get that little hint of this? Then it's not about us anymore, right? It's not about Corpen Gin. It's about that customer being able to taste gin, identify things that they know and recognize, and then be able to share that with their friends and family.
Nice.
And that really is the core of what we try to do in every one of our recipes, right? We're no Monkey 47 with 47 botanicals, right? At most, these two recipes, I think we're talking like 10, 12 ingredients, maybe max there.
Nice. I mean, I get your point. Like, so you're trying to be very simple, flavor, varietally correct. You're making gin how, it appeals to the consumer that you're aiming for, which I believe is what, 30 to 40-year-old person?
Yeah, late 20s, 30s, 40s, and above. Honestly, we have a lot of customers who are older than that. But that's
nice.
Really kind of the early like 30s into mid 40s is really
Brian, what's the current distribution like? Do you have an importer in the US or are you looking for one?
We don't have an importer in the US. In fact, we're actively seeking that. So because I was in the military, we are selling to all of the US military bases that are based in Europe. So Army, Air Force, Navy.
Nice.
Which is great. We basically have a product that is ready to go to the United States. We've had to adjust the labeling. We've had to adjust the bottle size for that market.
Do you get the benefit of using your Navy or military token to open more doors in accounts in US? So that can be a benefit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as a Navy veteran, any kind of government contracting, this is one of the tick marks, right? Like, Are you a minority-owned business? Are you a woman-owned business?
Correct,
Are you a veteran-owned business? Are you a disabled veteran-owned business?
It's great for like chains or PLCB or any large control states if you're trying to enter, right?
Exactly. And for the U.S. market, right, we have a specific label, right? There are some labeling specifics that the U.S. market requires, like the Surgeon General's warning. But we also have like a veteran-owned and operated, kind of logo on the back of our label. And then for those customers in particular, right, the Army and the Air Force and the Marines, we have hanging tags that go on the bottle that say U.S. Navy veteran-owned, made in Barcelona. So
very nice.
Really kinds of has a foot in both worlds, right? I mean, those are understandable things for a lot of Americans, but also Barcelona has an allure. I mean, there certainly has a character of a fun, cool place. And if you can't get to Barcelona, well, you can at least drink some Barcelona gin.
Very nice. That was one of my favorite cities before. So anything else, Brian? You want to add the last call to action or anything for the trade?
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about sustainability. So we are not only an award-making gin company, but we also have sustainability at our core, right? When I was in the Navy, I spent a lot of time sailing around the Pacific Ocean, and the amount of plastics that you see in the ocean is absurd. to give you just a rough idea, it's like 80 million metric tons of plastic go into the ocean every year. That's the weight of 90 aircraft carriers. It's huge. So when we designed this packaging, I was thinking about all that plastic. So this is a completely plastic-free packaging solution, and as sustainable as we can reasonably make it, right? This is a recycled glass. So that color just comes from a mix of clear glass and green glass, right? This company is based in Milan. So this is literally recovered from the recycling bins on the street. The cap that we use is wood and cork, so no plastic there. And then it's kind of hard to see, but our seal that we have here looks kind of like plastic, but is actually made from cellulose. So this is a plant-based product. So what does that mean? Well, when you are drinking Corpen Gin, like not only are you enjoying a delicious gin, but you're also, joining this growing community of people who are really taking active steps to keep our beaches and our oceans free of plastic.